now need to take the old tap off, but before we do that, we need to turn off the hot and cold water supply to the tap. First, take a look under the sink to see if there are isolation ball valves on the pipes that supply the existing tap. If there are, turn each valve off by turning the screw head or handle on the valve so it's at a right angle to the flow of the pipe. A parallel position means on. If you don't have isolating valves, you'll need to turn the water off at the main stopcock. Ours is located here under the sink, but yours may be located somewhere else. It may be located underneath the stairs, in a cloakroom, or perhaps in the garage. In older properties with timber floors, it may even be located under the floorboards. Turn the stopcock off fully by turning the handle clockwise. A stopcock can sometimes be stiff to operate because it's not used on a daily basis. If your stopcock is difficult to move, don't use excessive force on the handle because you could shear the handle or the valve spindle. Ask a B&Q in-store advisor or a plumber for further advice. Once the stopcock is off, check the tap is isolated by turning on the kitchen tap. A small amount of water should drain out for up to a minute, but not much longer than this. If there is still flow, then either you haven't found the correct stopcock or the stopcock is faulty. In some houses, like this one, the hot water is also isolated when the main stopcock is off. This applies where a combination boiler, instantaneous water heater or unvented hot water storage cylinder is fitted. If you have a hot water storage cylinder in an airing cupboard and a cold water storage tank in your loft, you will need to turn off the hot water supply to the hot water cylinder. This will stop the water coming out of the taps. The isolation valve will normally have a round red handle and is typically located just above the top of the cylinder on the 22mm pipe that is connected to the bottom cylinder. Once you have turned off the hot and cold supplies as necessary, go back to the tap and check that no water is coming out. Getting the old tap off can be fiddly due to the limited space that's available. Before you disconnect the pipework, make a note of which side of the tap is hot and which side is cold. In most cases, the cold is on the right, but this isn't always the case. We'll start by disconnecting the water pipes. These are compression fittings, so we'll use adjustable wrenches to undo the nuts. Use one wrench to hold and support the fitting and another wrench to loosen the nut on the tap side of the fitting. Once the nut is loosened, you may be able to unscrew it with just your fingers. Underneath each nut you will see a copper or brass olive. This is the part that makes the seal between the pipe and the fitting. When the nut is tightened, the olive is compressed onto the pipe, hence the name compression fitting. You'll need to remove the olive from each of the tap connection pipes to be able to remove the nuts. You may be able to ease the olive off using pump pliers, or you may need to cut the olives off using a junior hacksaw. Once the pipes are disconnected, you need to undo the brass nut that holds the tap in place. This is the nut that's screwed onto the threaded bar that is attached to the base of the tap. The easiest method of doing this is to use a purpose-made box spanner or a deep socket extension bar and ratchet. Once the securing nut has been removed, the old tap can be pulled out. You may need to squeeze the connecting pipes together as you remove the tap.
Top tip: now is a good time to really clean the surface underneath the old tap. Get rid of any unsightly stains and dirt using a sink cleaner. Follow the instructions.